about the poverty in India. So let's begin.
As usual, we have 4 points. First point, introduction. Second point, causes of poverty. Third point, its effects. And fourth point, conclusion.
Let's go to the introduction.
What is poverty? Food, water, shelter have been defined as the basic needs of a man. The modern list at hands education and sanitation. To the three stated earlier, the inability to fulfill these requirements is stormless poverty. The Union Cabinet now defines a household to be below poverty line if the annual income of the household is less than 27,000. Now, what is the history behind it? After gaining independence in the year 1947, instead of eradication, the poverty in India has seen a very rapid increase in the rate of poverty across the country. The fact that the richer are getting richer and the poor are getting poor is very alarming. The decreasing rate. Since 2001 and over the last decade, all through the poverty level have declined from the 37.2% to 29.8%. Still, a whopping number of 250 million poor people is estimating to be living in India. Fourth point, efforts taken by the government. The poverty minimization programs by the various government in the past and now the policy of Modi government are well intended. Yet the impact is so much visible on the poverty eradication and the people living below the poverty line are still large in number. Now let's look at the statistics. According to a survey conducted by the World Bank, every 1 in 10 Indians is poor. 80% of these poor people belong to the rural areas and the villages of the country. 60% of the poor in the state of Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. The reason for the state to be in the categories of the poorest state is because 85% of the tribal population lives there. Also, most of these regions are either flood prone or suffer some of the other natural climate. These conditions hamper the agriculture to a great extent on which the household income of these groups depend.
All these facts make us wonder what must be the actual cause of this poverty. Let's see causes of poverty.
The first one is population. The exponential growth in the population is one of the major reasons for the poverty to be ever increasing in our nation. This increase in population leads to unemployment and further brings the household below the poverty line. Second point, illiteracy. Illiteracy across the nation make the people take up jobs as the laborers based on the daily payment of wages. Unskilled workers get paid very less as compared to the amount of the physical work they do. The problem lies with the unorganized sector as owners do not bother the way the workers live or the amount they earn. They on the area of concern is the cost cutting and more profit. Third point, expenses. The ever increasing price of the basic commodities also contribute to the major cause of finding a large population of the country below the poverty line. Fourth point, gender discrimination. India is the country where till today there is a discrimination on the basis of gender. The weak status attached with the woman is usually responsible for the poor condition of women in the country. Fifth point, social factors. The growth of economy is also hampered by the social factor caste system and unequal distribution of income, and this source is another reason for poverty in India. In its research, it has also been observed that the poverty is high amongst the scheduled tribe followed by scheduled caste. Sixth point, poverty in cities. Earlier poverty was as a rural phenomena, but with the urbanization pouring in rapidly, the development in the urban areas was released. While the rural poverty might comprise people not getting 2 square meal a day, urban poverty is different and might involve living in an unsafe and unhygienic housing and deteriorative standard of living which is most likely present in India. The slums in the urban areas of India reflect the urban poverty conditions.
Let's look at the effects of poverty.
The first one is the health. Lack of financial stability among the household leads to the improper health and hygiene condition. This leads to the spread of many diseases and such an individual and their families suffer from malnutrition. Further, when these people get ill, they do not even have enough money to visit a doctor or to buy medicines. Many such poor people die on a daily basis due to prolonged illness. Second point, child labor. Due to poverty, poor people send their children to work instead of sending them to school. This is because the families fail to bear the burden of their children among the poor families. The children start earning at an average of 5 years only. Third point, terrorism. The increasing rate of poverty in the country also leads to the rise of terrorist activities. Youngsters from the poor families are usually targeted and involved in the terrorist activities. These people are awarded huge amount of money in exchange to which they are assigned with the destructive task or terrorism. Taking into condensation the causes of poverty, now let's see how the government has been fighting this issue. Since decades, the Indian government has taken up various schemes and programs to provide employment to the poor so that they can earn a daily wage. Government aids. First point, National Rural Lively Mission, a JVICA of 2011. Second point, the Fight Hunger First Innovative FHFI program of 2011. Third point, Food Security Bill of 2013. Fourth point, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana of 2015. Fifth point, Farm Loan Waivers of 2016 to 2018.
Now let's see the steps to reduce poverty.
Conclusion. First point, focusing on agriculture sector. India is the agriculture country. The roots of our nation are buried deep down in the soil in the farms. There is a lot of employment and a lack of stability in the agriculture sector. If strengthen this sector can help us to reduce poverty to a very great extent. Second point, affordable commodities. Bring in a stability in the pricing of the essential commodities will also help by making them affordable to everyone. Third point, hygiene. Drinking water and sanitation should be made available to all. A country can grow if and only if it is physical health. So the first major area to focus upon is the hygiene in the villages and rural areas. Fourth point, family planning. The ever increasing population in the country has not just been the root cause of the poverty but also many other serious issues. Thus, there is a need to impose proper laws with regard to family planning. We can also start working on this by conducting family planning workshop in the rural areas. Fifth point, education. Education is the remedy to all. Once you get educated, you can find some way or the other to earn a living. Thus, by providing affordable education to all, we can eradicate poverty from the country at a great pace. Sixth point, minimum wage standard. The government should really find a way to impose minimum wage standard for these workers. At the same time, the government should ensure that this is being implemented well. 7 point, the Agenda 2030. The United Nations has taken up goals for the sustained development and eradication of poverty and hunger by 2030. This shows that the need of the arts is forcing on the poverty and its most drastic side effect on the hunger. Thus, by working together, we can eradicate the poverty of some our country as every person has right to live a healthy and prosperous life.